Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you today. Hopefully my voice is going to see me through. I've been a bit under the weather the last few days. I've insisted that all of the staff at Fishburners get the flu injection, but I didn't get around to it, unfortunately. So a bit frustrated with that. But look, firstly, I just would like to start by acknowledging the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the land, and pay my respects to the elders, both past and present. So I'm going to talk to you about Fishburners and its role in creating startups and I suppose what that means for the jobs of today and tomorrow and what are the sort of skills that we're seeing within our own community here and what we're doing sort of to develop those further and I'd like to and towards the end just talk to you a bit about what we would like to do in terms of working with the school system, inspiring entrepreneurialism. And so maybe at the break later on I can come in. I'd love to sort of pick your brains and talk to you a little bit further about what we're thinking about doing in that space. So Fishburners, sorry, let's get this with the technology here. Fishburners supports the largest community of startups in Australia. We're a not-for-profit organisation dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurialism, bringing ideas to life and supporting startups to get started, grow and succeed. We do this by providing the best facilities and you're using them right now and I welcome any of you to, if you'd like to have a tour of the rest of the facility, I'm quite happy to do that a bit later in the day if you've got some time. So the best facilities, resources, learning and development, mentoring and connections needed for an idea to come to life and to flourish. Our mission is to create successful tech-based startups in order to create the jobs of the future and bring to market the innovative products and services needed to fuel a robust and healthy economy. And just so you know, that being a not-for-profit, we receive funding from the New South Wales State Government through Jobs for New South Wales. Because they obviously see the value in supporting what we do here in terms of its role in economic development and job creation and revenue generation and the development of obviously new innovative ways of doing things. So, and in Brisbane we have that same relationship with the Brisbane City Council. So we work very closely with government to do what we're doing and we're obviously very grateful for their support. This is our theory of change. I won't spend too much time on it. I need to still get a graphic designer to zhuzh it up, but it's really just giving you a sort of sense of how we fit into the ecosystem and the role that we play at the different stages of a startup's life, from ideation through to scale and growth. And so we do focus largely on early stage, so very much about the ideation stage. And once the startups scale to sort of beyond a team of 20, they move on because we don't really have the facilities and resources that they need for that larger size. So we do focus on that early stage, but generally, we'll be working with them through to scale as well, but it's about providing all of the support that they need to take them through that on that journey. We have currently today 400 startups across our Sydney and Brisbane operations. We are also looking to potentially move into Wollongong as well, which we're excited about. 1,000 jobs has been created from those 400 startups in this year, $35 million in revenue, $65 million in investment, and a huge amount of events and inspiring entrepreneurialism through the work that we do here. We run a pitch night every Friday night. We tend to have about 300 people attend that. And then we run weekly learning and development workshops where we invite the general public to participate in those as well, because we have a commitment to inspiring entrepreneurialism, as I said, and to lifelong learning, which is, I think, such a critical part of, dealing, being successful in the new economy. So, as Michaela said earlier, startups are a leading source of job creation, and they're ensuring that we're prepared with the right workforce, products and services in a highly disruptive tech-based world. Being a founder of a startup or working with a startup provides people with an entrepreneurial skill set and an understanding of the competencies and intelligence required to be successful in a climate of perpetual disruption, which are critical factors for the jobs of today and tomorrow. Just thought I'd share some of our success stories with you, just to give you a sense of what these startups are working on in our community. So Design Crowd, they are a creative community platform providing design at a price that fits your budget. Their platform provides access to almost 700,000 designers, and they have generated, since they began, 51 million. Equal Reality, they create diversity and inclusion through training in virtual reality. I'm not sure they actually take their product into schools. Some of you may have seen it. It allows you to walk a mile in someone else's shoes and to learn what it's like to experience discrimination or inappropriate behaviour. Freight Exchange, it's an award-winning digital marketplace that automates the movement of goods by efficiently managing all aspects of the booking and dispatch process for long-haul transport carriers and shippers. You can see they've had a very successful growth path. Obviously, there's a lot of startups as well that don't reach these heights. I think that's fairly well known, and but a lot of the startups will go through a number of different iterations from where they first began. And I think being in a community like this allows them to explore new ideas and validate their ideas where they wouldn't necessarily obviously have that opportunity at home. Go and Catch is a ride-sharing platform. They've since raised $10 million. Great Connection is one of our probably most successful. Is one of the biggest and most popular student graduate careers websites. I'm sure you'd be familiar with it. And it was acquired by Seek earlier this year. Home Care Heroes is a social enterprise, and they are harnessing the power of community to combat socialisation by providing personalised and affordable companionship and non-medical services for people in their homes. So that's certainly having an enormously positive impact. Hyperana is an artificial intelligence powered data analyst, so it's basically you interact with her as you would with another person. So that's certainly another very successful startup that was born at Fishburners. And Koala, I'm sure you've probably heard of Koala. They've certainly gone from strength to strength as well. J-Ride also is the largest passenger transport system now for around the globe for people wanting to travel anywhere. So Mad Paws, it's a marketplace for pet services. Radiant is a mental health social enterprise that uses data-driven algorithms to match mental health help seekers with the professional services that they need. Tiny Beans, as you can see, enables families to share the joy of their children, see not so good times, which we'd all be familiar with. And then Exceptional works with young people with autism and providing them with employment, where they normally wouldn't have the opportunity. And just cleaning, so I'll just flick through these. So technology is obviously clearly reshaping our work. And I think, for a lot of us, particularly being older, like myself, it can be quite scary. You wonder whether you are going to be, made redundant. But I think, what is clear is that there's obviously, a place for all of us. But I think, we all need to be looking at constantly learning, reskilling, and adapting, to the new environment. Between 40 and 60% of current middle income jobs won't exist in 10 years. And we know that a lot of, jobs are being, through the industrial age are being, replaced by machinery. And software is now replacing a lot of repetitive tasks. We've got, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Some examples is, TurboTax has eliminated many accountants because you can do it all online. Amazon obviously has eliminated many retail jobs through their platforms. And while, even in the medical, teaching and legal services, we're seeing the replacement of people with technology for those sort of more methodical tasks. So I think, it's pervading, every area of our life. So in terms of the skills needed for the jobs of today and tomorrow, I mean, clearly the obvious pathways for young people are, computer science and software engineering, skills in cloud computing and big data collection and storage, and cyber security. But also very helpful, and I'll show you a bit later, like the skills that are within our sector, you would think would be very heavily orientated in those areas, but they're actually not. It's what is very useful, obviously, is to develop those skills of the entrepreneur. According to the Genome report in 2012, a revolution in entrepreneurship could propel the world to a level of wealth never seen before by enabling scientific discoveries and technological breakthroughs to be integrated into the fabric of society. So I think really what that's saying is that there's the opportunity for all of us really to be an entrepreneur because we are in and that's largely because of technology and what's at our disposal. So startups are being increasingly seen as a pathway to future-proofing for the jobs and wealth creation of today and tomorrow. The role of technology startups has never been more important. It's a major driver of job growth in the US, and it certainly is becoming a major driver for job growth in Australia as well. The power of information technology has started to trigger a reorganisation of the global economy. It's never been easier or cheaper to create a startup thanks to infrastructure like open source software, software as a service, cloud hosting, payment processing, distribution channels, real-time collaboration, on-demand logistics services, and hyper-targeted advertising. And I think these are some of the key reasons why we've seen such a growth in startups communities, because it's so accessible. I mean, if I wanted to start a business, when I had finished my university degree, it would have taken huge sums of money for bricks and mortar, rent, stock. I mean, so many of those barriers have been eliminated now to doing your own thing and having your own business. So it's a good time. So 10 years ago, if you didn't have the skill to make something and didn't have the capital to buy it, you're out of luck. And even now, avoiding mistakes has never been easier. I mean, we've had access to so much learning from the plethora of, blogs and podcasts and open online courses, or, simply getting in touch with, other entrepreneurs in the field. Knowledge is increasingly open sourced, and even the best software frameworks are given away for free. Even if you fail in a startup, and as I mentioned, a lot of them do initially, you certainly end up being more employable because you are working across such you're doing everything from the marketing through to the financial analysis, the business planning. So I think there's a real value just in being involved with the startup, whether you're a founder or as an employee. So what are the some of the the entrepreneurial mindset? Is it's problem solving and critical thinking, and I think they're really the two key areas that we really need to be developing in our young people, so that they can creatively think about things, on a regular basis. Because being entrepreneurial is about problem solving. You need determination, endurance. You need to have empathy. I think you need to really want to understand what the problem is that you're trying to solve and who you're solving it for. The ability to tell a good story, and the discipline to take an iterative hypothesis-led approach. That's critical. And as I said, many of the startups we have in our community have gone through a number of iterations before they get to the one that they go with. So this is some of the skill sets we see within our current community. And why you would think the coding, the big data would be the top of that graph. It's business and marketing. So I think it clearly takes a really a much broader skill set than people might have initially think. And I suppose that's one of the myths of the startup community, that you need to be a data geek or nerd. Obviously there's some great advantages to being an entrepreneur or to having a startup, and that's obviously being able to follow your passion and be a director of your own time, although it is certainly very hard work. Working on leading edge purpose-based change the world endeavours, choosing the people that you work with, and often their teams are very highly engaged and passionate people, and getting, as I mentioned earlier, to work across all areas of the establishment and development of a business, which is such a great way to develop skills that are needed for the new economy. And you often get to take on challenges and responsibilities that are ahead of your standard career timeline. Sometimes equity is on offer, which then really allows you to leapfrog salary earnings if you're successful. Some of the disadvantages, it can be incredibly stressful if you're bootstrapping to a business. That certainly can be stressful. It's probably not ideal if you've just started a young family, you've got mortgages and commitments, because you are sort of living on the edge at times. And obviously large scale success often requires a decade plus of commitment. Just so some of the myths, obviously, that you have to be into tech and know code. That's not the case anymore, and we're finding that founders can come from any background. Startups are born in garages. No, they're born now in really lovely spaces like we have here at Fishburners. And it's a bunch of young geeks playing ping pong. Well, we certainly do have those. But we find that the largest cohort here is actually the 35 to 45-year-old bracket, and these are people that have been in the corporate world and have a good idea, and they know that they've got the technology and the resources now to execute it, and they've been around the traps, and so they know what they're doing as well. As I mentioned earlier, that importance of lifelong learning, and that's something we're very committed to here at Fishburners, and so we curate a lot of events every week. We have 2 to 3 learning events, which we call, it's either learning from an expert or learning from a burner, and a burner is one of our members here. So that is just a sort of really critical part to staying, I suppose, ahead of the curve. And I think that's something that we really need to encourage in our young people as well, that you don't stop after your university degree. you keep going. And I think there's so many opportunities now for you to do that in a really cost-effective and engaging way. And you can choose how you do that learning. As I mentioned earlier, we're looking to develop a range of programs to help students and employees thrive in the new economy through experiential learning and development in entrepreneurship. And so, as I mentioned, if anyone's interested in talking to me about that further, please feel free to email me, and if I get the chance to pop in later during the break, I'd love to have a chat and see what your thoughts are around that. All right, thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Nicole?
That list of skills has been provided before, with business being at the top and other skills mentioned. Where does the old-fashioned gift to the gap fit within that?
Well, I think, storytelling, I would say, storytelling is very much what I would say is gift to the gap, is a critical skill for a successful entrepreneur. And so, I think it's definitely up there for sure. So I think, obviously, being able to articulate a story, engage people, really important. You want to engage, funders and customers in a new idea, you've got to be able to tell them the story.
I recently read a report from Startup Oz, and they were talking about how to grow the sector even more. And they said a big skill shortage in the startup sector is salespeople.
Yes.
So yes, it's an interesting one in terms of sales has been around forever. But there's a big shortage in business development managers and sales managers.
If you're an entrepreneur and you'd like to be hosted by you, what's the process, what's the cost?
Oh, okay. So we have it's a membership-based pricing structure, and so we've got a few different options. So we have what we call as a dedicated desk, which means you've got your desk, you can keep your computer on it, you can keep your belongings on it, which is $580 a month. And then we have a community desk, which for a hot desk, where we have a range of community desks where you can just come in each day and find a spot wherever there is one, whether it be on the desk or in our large common area and idea space, and that's for $450 a month. And then we have a day rate, which is $35 for people that just want to come in and experience what it's like working in a space like this, because for some people it's great, for others it's not so good. I mean, if you are somebody that needs to be in silence, most people do have headphones now, which I think obviously helps that, but it is, it's quite a dynamic, rowdy, sort of space, and so for some people that's not ideal. So we give people that opportunity to come in for the day as well. So
Do you have an interview process?
we do, yes, we do. We need to understand what people's ideas, what their purposes, because obviously we don't want a situation where we've got a whole heap of people that are coming in and they're just trying to sell stuff to, service providers, for instance. So we've got to verify that you have an idea, what stage you're at, what your objectives are, and whether you're going to be right for this environment. Yeah, absolutely. It's not onerous. There's probably about 5 or 6 key questions that we ask, and we do that in a sort of face-to-face interview process.
And how do you choose mentors for people?
So, well, we obviously match people according to their needs. And so that's really just up through a matching process. We understand through that interview process as well, we need to document where are you at, what do you need, what are your strengths and weaknesses, and get a sense of what they're going to need going forward.
Does Fishburners get a percentage of what they finally earn?
No, we don't take any equity at all. We're a not-for-profit organisation, so our business model is really just generating the revenue through the desk, and we also have some obviously our partnerships with government and corporates. But our aim is, if we're dedicated to the success of the startups, not to, obviously their success is our success, and so while we need to be financially sustainable, we're not interested in taking a cut of
What structured, like processes for like information collection?
So every week we run events, so that we have a weekly, 2 to 3 weekly workshops. And that ranges, and that's based on, we ask the members every couple of weeks what are their pain points, what are their needs, and we'll curate then those workshops around that. That'll be everything from, customer experience design through to public relations, digital marketing, financing. So those workshops are done on a weekly basis. We also have some in residence programs where we have people like the chartered accountants are here who are available to provide pro bono advice and to do basically sort of masterclasses with particular people in those areas, legal, marketing. So there's a whole range of different resources that they can tap into, but then there's also then the mentoring. So we do we've got some significant sort of mentoring programs that we run as well to provide them more some one-on-one support.
And is that available to all Fishburners regardless of the membership status, so even for the ones who come in just that day?
Yeah, if they came, well, that's right, if they came in on the day when the lunchtime workshops were on, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the issue on that's for Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah.
Can I sign up for the utility?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right, look, when are you having a break? So I don't know if you want to, I'm happy to take you around on the morning tea and lunch break. Just let me know what works for you and I'll make sure I'm available.